But we're really excited to get into today's edition of What Works, which is all about LinkedIn hacks. But first, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional territories we're situated on and recognize the original caretakers of this land that we have the privilege to live, play, learn, and work on. So today I'm working from my home office, which is not too far from state, and both are located on Mohkinstsis. So that means that's where the lands of the Bow and Elbow rivers meet, and it's what we currently call Calgary. So today we're meeting on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which encompasses the Indigenous people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Northwest Métis Homeland, Region 3. If you're like me and are on your own personal reconciliation journey, I want to share a resource that I came across from the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation, and that's Truth and Reconciliation Week happening from September 26th to 30th. It's an online series of webinars where you can learn more about the lasting effects of residential schools. Learning is knowing, and when you know better, you do better. So I'll pop the link into the Q&A, not the chat. Registration isn't quite open yet, but you can bookmark it and also review last year's sessions if you're interested. Okay, so without further ado, Laura Schulke is joining us today from Career Advancement Services here at SAIT, and is going to take us through some of her tips and tricks for making the most of LinkedIn. So feel free to open up LinkedIn on your phone or on another browser if you want to follow along that way. And if you'd rather not, we'll also be recording this session so you can refer to it in the future if you need. And like I mentioned, Q&A is open, so if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and pop them in there. We'll try to address them as we go, but there will be time at the end to answer your questions as well. So I'm going to introduce you to Laura, and then I'll let her take it away. Laura Schulke has been passionate about helping others map out their future and begin to navigate their career path since her university days. She just didn't realize until decades later that it was destined to become her career. Laura's career journey has taken her from teaching elementary to company recruiting before stepping into program advising at SAIT. And that's where she realized her love of higher education and went on to complete her Master's of Education in Adult Learning and Global Change. Now, as a certified career development practitioner, she has gathered a wealth of practice in skills identification and interest assessments. And she comes today with rich skills in assisting new Canadians, experienced professionals, as well as new grads as they transition onto new and varied career pathways. So thank you so much for joining us today, Laura. I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alyssa. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's very exciting to be here and to get to talk with you, maybe not officially chat, but hopefully answer some questions for you. You know, I will start off by saying I am very excited and passionate about all things related to career development, and anybody that has come to know me knows when I start talking about things, I get really excited. So it is a fantastic chance for me to share with you some of the things that I have learned and hopefully help you to feel a little bit more comfortable in starting to develop some practices for yourself around LinkedIn and really furthering your career, utilizing the tools that are available to you. I always, whenever I'm talking about LinkedIn, I always like to say, I don't work for LinkedIn, I work for SAIT. And as such, I like to recognize that LinkedIn is a fantastic platform. It's got a lot of functionality. It's a tool that's available to you to really network and further your career, get more knowledge in your industry. But it is only one tool, and there's lots of other things out there that are available to you, and I highly encourage you to use those as well. LinkedIn is a power tool though, so it definitely has some capacity to do some work for you, and also hopefully make it a little lighter lifting for maybe some of your career search, applying for jobs, if that's the stage you're at in your career journey. So without further ado, we are going to jump in. I've got a few PowerPoint slides, but I actually intend to mostly jump out onto the live LinkedIn site and show you some of my strategies, some of the things that I've learned to help you a little bit. And certainly there's a lot more out there. So, use those resources as well. Okay, so, you heard about LinkedIn. You heard that you have to be on LinkedIn in order to do anything in the career world these days. So you signed up for it. You've got a LinkedIn profile. Now what? What do you do with it? What is really available to you through LinkedIn? Well, as you've gone through and, it kind of makes you do some steps when you first sign up for it. So, you might have added a few jobs in, some educational experiences, and then you maybe started reaching out to some friends or some coworkers on there. Well, that's a great start. And what we're going to talk about today is that now what feeling. So how can we actually really dive into this platform? And your level of comfort is going to be different across the board, and that's totally fine. You can always protect your privacy by adjusting your privacy settings and all of those good pieces. So don't ever feel like you are really exposing yourself, that sort of thing, on LinkedIn, because ultimately you get to decide what you include on there and how you use this platform for yourself. So it's not wrong to want to keep some information back. That's certainly fine if that's your preference. Some people like to put everything out there, and that's totally fine. And it's going to vary for you at different points in your career journey as well. And so it's perfectly acceptable and understandable to feel that as you're kind of getting to used to the platform, but also starting to really leverage what it can do for you. Okay, so one of the things that I do recommend is that you spend some time completing your profile to the level that you wish to share. So, fill out as many of the sections as you can that are relevant to you and your experience, to what you want to share for your industry, for where you're at in your career journey. If you are at the beginning stage for applying for new jobs, that sort of thing, then you might want to put more in there in terms of skills, marketable certifications, that sort of thing. If you're, kind of satisfied with where you're at in the position that you hold now, and you're really looking more to leverage the platform to gain new contacts, that sort of thing. So maybe your profile is at a stage where you're happy with it and it's sharing enough information about that. Or if you have a lot of expertise and you are now looking to leverage the platform into a speaker career or a consulting career, then the information that you share may change. So I do recommend fill out as many of the sections as are relevant to that stage for you. Certainly, if you are in a career search frame of mind, then including lots of that background information for potential employers and contacts to really understand what you have to offer in a new position, that sort of thing, that's fantastic. As you gain knowledge and maybe even diversify your skills, gain new micro credentials, maybe sharing more along those licenses and certifications is a great idea. Included in that also is LinkedIn is intended to be a visual medium and to kind of take the place of some of our face-to-face contact that we haven't been able to have in the last couple of years. So as such, I do highly recommend adding professional profile picture, including a nice banner photo that tells your industry or professional story. Please note that when I say professional profile pictures, that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily go out and pay for a professional photographer to take those photos. It just means that you should appear professional in that photo. Something that I think is important is we do suggest that you avoid the use of an avatar. Because we are trying to get a sense of who you are. That being said, an avatar can be a good way to take away from maybe your physical appearance and keep the focus on how you wish to be seen in your professional industry. One of the kind of undercurrents of everything that I'm going to say today is that SAIT is here to support you as you move forward in your career. And so please do remember that you can certainly reach out to Career Advancement Services even after graduation to get a profile review done by a career advisor and to have a discussion with them about what makes the most impact for you, or makes the most sense, again, dependent on where you're at in your journey. So definitely that is one of the free services that we provide. Spoiler alert, I'll talk more about the other services towards the end of this session. But we are here to help and support you and to give you some of that feedback in a very safe setting. So you can certainly come back and participate in those types of appointments with the career advisors. Something that I think is very maybe misunderstood or underutilized on LinkedIn is the skills section. And the skills section on LinkedIn, years ago when it first started, it was kind of a mandatory section that you had to fill out and put some career skills in there, but it was very nebulous. It allowed for a lot of entry on your part, and it still does, where you can type in different pieces. But what I actually really suggest is, as you're refining your profile and refining your use of the platform, LinkedIn has gotten far more sophisticated over the years, as with most online resources and platforms. And so now the algorithms are really good at making suggestions and for supporting your needs. So when you go in and you start adding skills into your profile, start your typing with, maybe I want to focus on my written communication for this. And so I start typing that in, and LinkedIn is going to give me suggestions. I do highly recommend choosing from the list as it comes out, so that you are matching the language of the algorithms that are built into the system. And that will help you to find more people that have similar skills. It will help you to be found when company recruiters are searching for those skills. It will also help to make better suggestions for you based on all of those pieces, because you're actually then kind of verifying what the computer is making about, or make the assumption it's making about your profile. So whenever you see those pop-ups coming in, try to select those and use that wording to add them into your profile. One of the things that I really suggest, and a lot of people feel maybe a little bit nervous about, is look at other people's profiles. I always say it feels a little bit like weird online cyber snooping, maybe a little bit like we are being stalkers in a way. This is sanctioned though. So don't feel bad for looking at other people's profiles and acknowledging when you see something that you like that they've done in their profile. So, you know, if you see some phrasing or some skills that maybe you have that you didn't even think to add into your profile, go back to your profile and do that, add those pieces in, because then you're really starting to develop a rich and robust profile, and you're again going to leverage more of what the system can do for you. Always keep in mind that, you know, people are on LinkedIn to share that information, to put it forward. So although it feels maybe a little bit uncomfortable or like we are snooping into other people's lives, again, they're okay with it. They are on the platform for a reason. They've shared that information because they're okay sharing that information. As such, I highly recommend, you know, don't include information on your LinkedIn profile that you don't want to share. So the reverse is kind of something for us to think about as well, that really, you know, use the platform to share the information that's meaningful to your professional world and to your industry. But that's really what the platform's intended for, is professional networking and sharing. So the other pieces don't need to be there. You don't need to delve into your private life on the system. That's not why we're all on LinkedIn. Another recommendation when it comes to adding skills to your profile, LinkedIn Learning is a fantastic part of the platform where you can take for free a lot of various micro credentials, short courses, all kinds of different things on there. And when you do those courses through LinkedIn Learning, you can actually then directly add the skills that you've gained from that course to your profile. So it's very easy. It actually gives you a pop-up that says, would you like to add leadership to your profile? Or would you like to add, you know, project management, or whatever the course is that you've taken? It gets really simple to add those into your profile. So go ahead and do that as you are gaining new knowledge and experience and using the system to kind of develop professionally. Then use that to add those things directly into your skill list on your profile. LinkedIn allows you to have 50 skills in your list. I highly recommend try to fill out all 50. The more that you can build in there, the better the system is going to be at making recommendations for you when it comes to, you know, future courses that you might want to take, people that you want to network with. The system will then recognize, hey, you're interested in, you know, organizational skills and leadership. So is this person, you might want to connect with them. So it will use that information that you're building into it to really give you those good recommendations that you can leverage. Okay, I'm just going to check in. Alyssa, do we have any questions at this point in time about skills or, you know, profile type questions?
Not quite yet, Laura.
Okay, perfect. All right. By the way, please feel free. Is the chat function working now? To me, it kind of looks like it might be.
Yeah.
Perfect. So feel free to add your questions in there. Alyssa is monitoring that for me. So we will make sure that we address your questions, because this session's really all about helping you with what you're interested in. Okay. So we've built out this fantastic profile, and I've got, you know, it's looking pretty sharp. I've added in, you know, some jobs, some experiences, some certifications, all those good pieces. Now I really, really want to start connecting and develop my network. The fantastic thing about LinkedIn is it's a very safe way to start reaching out to people that maybe you wouldn't normally be comfortable reaching out to. I used to consider myself an extrovert. Now I think I am a little bit more introverted, but I, even as an extrovert, felt very nervous going into, you know, big groups of people and just walking in and introducing myself. So LinkedIn gives me a little bit of a chance to think about how I want to create that introduction for myself, and to kind of revamp it and edit it before I hit send, and be happy with how I want to present myself. As such, it is a fantastic way for us now to start really extending our reach into areas that maybe we never could before. You know, we can reach a little bit higher in a company. We can find the CEO and send them an invite, or we can look for people in other areas of the world that maybe we wouldn't have connected with before. It gives us a little bit more capacity to track down some of our classmates and see what projects they're working on now, and then reach out to them. It allows us to find the right contacts in companies that maybe we wouldn't have been comfortable introducing ourselves to before. That comes down to kind of what you see on the screen here. I highly, highly recommend always providing a personalized invitation to connect. And in order to do this, and I'll show you when I pop out to the live site here in a moment, you do need to go to the person's profile and click connect from their profile to get that invitation box that I've screenshot for you here. Always write a personalized invitation. You know, if it's somebody that you met at an actual event, then you might, you know, kind of put in here the something similar to the example I've got on the screen, something that's a bit of a reminder to that person about the conversation that we had. So, you know, they probably met a lot of people at that event as well. So helping them to remember who I was and what we talked about is a better way to encourage them to actually want to connect with you. And also, you know, if you are maybe cold connecting with somebody, you're reaching out to somebody that you don't actually know yet or haven't met at any function or anything, by telling them what it is you have in common, or why you're wanting to connect with them, what it is that you think that you could have a discussion with them about, they're far more likely to say yes to helping you. And one of the biggest things that I always like to leverage is that SAIT alumni community. You know, this is a community that you are already part of. It's already part of your network. So reaching out to people and saying, you know, hi, Alyssa, I too am a SAIT graduate, you know, from 2011 or whatever it was, and I'd love to connect with you more and find out what you're doing now, or what projects you're working on, or you know, I'm a recent graduate from the project management program, and I would love to find out how you got your start in the industry. Or asking questions like that right in that invitation will really increase the likelihood that they will say yes to that invitation to connect. Full disclosure, I often don't connect with people that haven't taken the time to tell me why they want to connect, because, you know, who am I? I don't have that much to offer the world. So tell me why you want to connect with me, because what is it that you're hoping I can do for you? So really, you know, a lot of people are, you know, maybe a little leery of connecting with people that they don't know, or a little guarded in terms of saying yes to those. So give them that reason that you're reaching out to them, so that it doesn't just seem like spam or noise in the background there. So really utilize those pieces that you have in common. Then remember that the technology is there to work for you. You know, the concept of technology is really all about problem solving to make pathways smoother for us. That's what technology is and what its purpose really is. So remembering that as we're utilizing this technological platform, is, you know, I'm not on LinkedIn just to be on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn to solve a need in my life, which is to connect with people in my industry and to maybe gain more industry knowledge or open up new opportunities that I might not have heard of before. So getting that technology doing some of that work to, again, lighten the heavy lifting that I have to do in searching for a new job or searching for, you know, maybe some new clients if you're in a consulting type role or that type of thing. So the system has built-in capabilities to do some of those searching pieces for you. So if you are searching for jobs, save your searches and set up that email alert for you so that it is now doing that work and checking on a regular basis for you. And then you just need to open those emails to see what it's come up with, and then only go into the system if you want to take a look at that particular job. You know, follow people and organizations, follow hashtags. That's a fantastic way to really start to find groups that you might want to be a part of, to find the people that can help and support you as you grow in your career or change positions, or as you start to develop into a leader in your industry. So use those analytics, use the recommendations that it's giving you to find the people that you want to connect with. Okay, I'm going to right now jump out to the main site, but this is a great time if you have any questions about anything that I've said so far and want to put them in the chat, please do so. And Melissa, maybe you can let me know as I navigate. Okay. Alyssa, can you see my LinkedIn?
I can, yeah, and we're
Perfect.
Still good for questions, so go for it.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we are on LinkedIn Live. Here's me scrolling so that you can see that this is live. You're going to see my horrible typing as I go through my searches and that sort of thing. But what I really want to show you here is some of the power that's available to you through this particular site. So one of my first and favorite things that everybody in our office is sick of me talking about all the time, if we look up SAIT on LinkedIn and we go to the actual SAIT page, oh, watch, now we all just crashed it because we're all doing it at the same time. No, so when we go to the SAIT page, first of all, you know, the home feed is going to show you what's going on at SAIT. You can stay up to date on the latest and greatest stories, you know, maybe some activities or events that are coming up. That's fantastic. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is this beautiful little button that's over here that's called Alumni. When you click on this Alumni button, you're going to get one of my favorite features of LinkedIn. I am a little bit of a statistics geek, so I get really excited about what this is showing us here. So what this is showing you and how we can interpret some of this information is currently on LinkedIn, there are over 125,000 LinkedIn users that have SAIT as one of their educational institutes. That is a huge group that you are actually a part of already. The moment that you add SAIT into your education on your profile, you are connected with this particular group. Now, what this is actually going to show you is if I scroll down, we will see all of those 125,000 plus people that will pop up in here. That's a lot of scrolling though. So we can actually refine this and start to find the people that we can really connect with, that we have something in common with, or that we want to develop something in common with. So by going here, we can type in, Alyssa, I'm going to use your people. I can type in radio, television, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And this will actually start to filter all of these users by the program that they studied here at SAIT. I'm just going to expand this a little bit so we can see a bit more. Now you'll see as people type things in differently into the system, we sometimes end up with kind of this split in the information that we get here. But let's click on radio, television here. And I'm actually just going to go up and I'm going to remove the filter that I typed in so that it's not causing any weird things in the background. And if I pop over here, you'll notice that these are grayed out now because I've selected one from there. So we've got a far more reasonable number of users that we can start to seek out a little bit more, but I can also refine my search a little bit better from here. Because what you'll see happening is all of these other display areas and filters have changed by what I have selected. And we can say, you know what, I want to know about the graduates from this program that are working in marketing, because that's maybe what I'm really interested in. And now we end up with this beautiful first page that's giving us this history of companies that hire radio, television, broadcast news graduates from SAIT. Woohoo! I've got all of these potential employers that I might be interested in listed right here. And you're going to see some that are probably recognizable to you, maybe some that you've never heard of before. And that's a fantastic way for you to start to see who is doing the hiring in your industry. You can also refine that by location if that's something that's important to you. I'm actually, again, just going to click off the marketing here for a moment and just get back to that program. And you can see, maybe I'm thinking about moving to Toronto area. So I want to see who in Toronto has hired SAIT grads in the past. Boom, here's a whole list of companies that know about the SAIT program because they've hired people from here before. And again, if I click on these, what's actually happening down below here is with each of these clicks, I'm refining the people that are shown down below. So I can really start to change the people that I'm seeing and start to refine the group that I can potentially connect with. And then you can click off any of these filters or play around with that information. Just before I move back into another area here, I also want to show you another fantastic feature, getting back into that, using the system to help me develop my own profile. If I go over twice on this analytics function, you'll see that we actually get this beautiful list of skills of things that I can, see are common in my industry that maybe I never thought of adding to my profile before. These are, the top skills that I might want to go back in and consider adding if I haven't put them in my profile. Or on the flip side of that, if I don't feel that those are really strong skills, but they seem to be important in my industry as indicated by these pieces here, then that can help me identify some areas that maybe I want to do some more professional development, maybe some courses that I want to take, a micro credential that I want to work towards. So that can really help me to start to guide my career forward a little bit more and make some good choices about what might be the most helpful to finding a particular job. Hopefully I just blew everybody's minds and they're like, ooh, okay, all right, now I've got all these plans to go in and search a little bit more. But at this point in time, somebody's going to get some real individualized attention here. I'm going to take off my filter on radio, television, broadcast news, and I'm going to ask you to put in the chat maybe a program that you would like me to talk about. And so fastest one gets their questions answered here. Alyssa, can you let me know what we get?
Ronaldo says IT software development.
Perfect. All right, Ronaldo, you're the lucky winner today. So information tech. Okay, so I type in my little abbreviated search, and then I'm going to go to that, what they studied, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look and see if we can zero in on software development. I could have also typed software development in here and used that instead. Ronaldo, I'm going to broaden it a little bit and just choose the IT overall. And I'm going to take out again the one that I typed in and let the analytics that match in the system. And you'll see it went from 189 to 5,000. So there is a difference between the way I've typed it and the way it's showing in the system. And that's why I take off my filter. Now, someone other than Ronaldo, hopefully there's other IT or something like that, but gets to call out one of these companies other than SAIT that you would like me to take a look at. So again, fastest one in the chat gets me to look at that company for them.
All right, Magdalena with City of Calgary.
Perfect. That's actually one of my favorite to use. So good call, Magdalena. Okay, so I'm not actually going to click on it here. Sorry. If I was to click on it here, what I'm actually getting is just that refining of who it is that works for City of Calgary that went to SAIT. By the way, absolutely use that to your advantage. I did promise I would do this, so you can go to their profile. I'm sorry, I don't know Scott, but you know, if I think I do know Scott. Anyways, so if we go over here again, now here would be that connect button where I would click to get the, why is it not allowing me to pop out? Interesting. Okay, my LinkedIn is not working as anticipated. Sorry, everyone. We are getting a little glitch in the matrix here. But when you click on that connect button, you will usually get that pop up where you can type in that personalized message to the person. I'm not sure, it looks like it's not fully loading here, so that's okay. But that's where you'll get that pop-up boxes from the person's profile and clicking connect there. If I just click connect from the suggestions, it's going to send the automated message from LinkedIn and not give me the opportunity to personalize that a little bit. So just something to keep in mind. But now we're going to go to City of Calgary. We're going to go to the actual company page. And from here, there's all kinds of fantastic information that we can learn about. So first of all, if it's a company that you are really potentially interested in working for, or maybe working with on a project, then make sure that you follow that particular company. I do see that we've got a question in the Q&A box, and I promise I'll come back to that in just a moment. So make sure that you follow companies that you're interested in working for. At this point, I'm going to pop out and I'm going to answer that question. Sean, thanks. Great question. How do you connect with someone who has disabled the connect function and you only see the message function? Use that message functionality to send the invitation and just say, you know, hi, Sean. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. If you are open to that, perhaps you can send me an invite. I'm interested in talking to you. I see that you're also SAIT alumni, or whatever that commonality is. So you can use that message function to do that same work for you. Just it comes into them as a message instead of that direct invitation to connect. So, but you can use it in that same way. Okay, so back to the company here that we are looking at, the City of Calgary. What I want to draw your attention to is, you know, when you follow an organization, first of all, they're going to show in your home feed that you get whenever they make posts and that sort of thing. So you're going to find out the latest and greatest that's going on with that particular company. And you'll get those good notifications, you know, maybe when they're hiring, they're working on a new project and they're doing a big hiring push, or quite often they'll also say, hey, we're posting for this new position, those types of things. So you'll see that in your home feed when you follow organizations. But back here on their main page, again, you know, it's a great place to research the organization. If you do have an interview scheduled with them, yay, fantastic. Go and review that about section, see what they have to say about themselves. Look at the videos that they've posted, their newsreels that are maybe coming out, the projects that they're really excited about. Again, it gives you some good information to be able to discuss in that interview. You know, when you're asked the question, why do you want to work for us? Well, now I've got more information to be able to answer that in a way that aligns myself with that organization and shows that I've done that good research. But neither of these things are my favorite feature about these company pages. If we actually pop over here to this people section and we click on that, what we're actually going to get, hopefully, there we go, is this fantastic same analytics types feature that we got on the SAIT page. Now from the SAIT page, it was telling us where SAIT graduates are working. What this is telling us is where the people that work for the company that we're interested in have done their studies before. And so we can leverage this information and say, wow, the second highest school that they do their hiring from, SAIT, fantastic. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to filter to see SAIT graduates that work for the city of Calgary. And I'm going to just expand this and I'm going to pop over one more. Here's what they do at the city of Calgary. Here's the programs they graduated from. Maybe I want to refine it back down to that information technology group. And now I am going to go over here and see where those IT people are working at the city of Calgary, or the types of jobs that they're working in. Maybe I then want to, you know, click on one of these choices. I'm just going to click off the information technology for a second here.
Hey, Lara, sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you. It just seems that some people are running into not being able to actually dig that deep, limited to just seeing where people live or where they studied.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that, because do you have a premium profile or?
I'm glad you asked that question. No, I don't. I have a basic account. That being said, it may be the device that you are on. Some of the functions are a little bit more limited on a mobile device. So for some of this work, you may need to actually log in on a PC or a laptop. Sorry, my apologies. I should have maybe mentioned that at the beginning, that some of the functionality is different on that mobile site, or your ability to click on some of the choices may be a little bit more limited. So that would be my guess. The other possibility is that sometimes it is an online platform, sometimes it's glitchy. So full disclosure, you may bump up against that. And also, LinkedIn, when you first set up your profile, it requires that you connect with a certain number of people before it gives you full access to the site. So if you are new to LinkedIn and you don't have, I think the number is 30 connections. If you haven't connected with 30 people yet, you know, add friends and family to get up to that 30 so that you've got the minimum to be able to leverage some of those additional functionalities. So it may be that piece, in which case, you know, search for people that you know that are on LinkedIn, look for their names, look for the companies that they work for and connect with them, and then you can start to dig deeper. So those would be my two guesses as to why you might bump up against that.
And which browser are you currently on? Because maybe that.
Great question. I am using Firefox.
Okay.
Right now, I find the functionality is pretty much the same on Chrome. In terms of the analytics and that sort of thing. Again, I usually mostly use LinkedIn from my laptop. I do use it a little bit on my phone, but honestly, I try to keep my phone for my personal life and not so much for my professional life. So that's why I've made that distinction. So again, I work for SAIT. I apologize that I don't have the most technical answers as to why that might be that you're bumping up against that. Full disclosure, I have no idea how LinkedIn works in Edge. That's not something that I've explored extensively. So you're welcome to kind of share in the chat if somebody has, you know, if there's particular tricks or those sorts of things with the Edge browser that you've found. So yeah, great question though.
Thank you.
Okay, so one other thing that I want to show you here in terms of the analytics when we're on a company website, when we've refined it down to those SAIT alumni members that work for a particular organization, if you go over to this next function, and I've only got the filter of SAIT on here, go down and take a look for the human resources people. They don't have to be graduates from the same program at SAIT, because reaching out and connecting with people that are in human resources is a fantastic way to start to get some insider information about maybe how that company does its hiring and that sort of thing. So use that as a way, you know, those people are going to pop up again in that lower part of this page so that you can see who they are. And again, reach out to them, say, you know, hi, Bob, I too am a SAIT graduate. Wondering if I could ask you some questions about how best to get noticed when applying to the city of Calgary, or something along that line. So again, we're not asking Bob for a job. That puts him in a bit of a weird position, but we're simply saying, hey, you know, we've got something in common. Can we chat? Can I ask your advice? Generally speaking, people are pretty open to wanting to help people that are coming from where they've been. So, you know, they've been new graduates, they've been in that job search situation, and generally speaking, they're happy to try and help as much as they can. So, you know, don't put them on the spot by saying, hey, can you get me a job there? That might be pushing that relationship a little bit too far too early. But it's okay to say, you know, hey, do you have any recommendations for me? They might not, and that's fine, or they may not actually accept your invitation to connect, but you're no worse off for having asked. You know, we fear the rejection a little bit, but you know, the more that you reach out to people, you'll be surprised at how many people will accept that invitation to connect. So really utilize that fantastic network that you're already a part of, and really use that as a good driver as your way in to making some of these connections. Okay, I think those are kind of some of my really top high-level tips. You know, I talked about using the saved searches in the job function, in the networking function. I do want to point out just once more in here that you can join groups, you can follow hashtags. In order to do that from your own profile, so if you navigate to your profile, you can also do it over on the side there. Then you can start to, you know, add in those profiles sections to share things. Full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of their build resume function. I would rather help you in terms of some of those pieces, as would most of the advisors here at SAIT as well. It pulls from your profile, so it's very similar. So if you're at a loss in your profile, it's probably not going to be super duper helpful. But we can give you a little bit more information and background on that. But again, you know, as we're looking around, if we go to settings and privacies in the account, we can start to leverage some of the things that we follow, looking at all of those pieces there. Okay, I'm actually going to back out here to the main page again. Sorry, and navigate back to the home page. again, using those groups, using those hashtags, my system's a little bit slow, lagging, sorry. We can start to, you can follow hashtags right here by clicking on it. It's going to make some suggestions. It's going to show you what you're following, and off you go from there. You can filter, type things in, as you type in hashtag jobs, it will make all kinds of suggestions for you, and you can just click on those to connect with them. Okay, I'm mindful of our time, and so I'm going to pop back to my slide deck here just very briefly, which if this will let me get there, because I do just want to remind you that SAIT does have the whole career advancement services team available to you as an alumni member. You can participate in events and activities that we're hosting. You can, attend appointments with a career advisor on various topics, participate in our career conversations and those things. And all of our services are free to you still as an alumnus. So please, please know that we are here to continue supporting you. To get a hold of us, of course, mycareerhub.sait.ca is our platform. We're physically located in the Stangrad MB205, and our phone number and email address are on the screen here. But I really want to make sure that we've captured all of your questions, or if there's something that I said that you're like, that doesn't make sense to me, that we get that addressed for you.
I think I wanted to follow up on Sean's question because
perfect.
This person has their connect function disabled, but also their message is locked. So it's almost like they're impossible to actually connect with. Is there a workaround, or is that just like they're kind of cut off?
I believe I've not actually tried to connect with somebody that has had all of those levels shut down. To be fair, they clearly aren't looking to do a lot of connecting on LinkedIn. So maybe, there's lots of other opportunities to connect out there. Respect their privacy if you can. Sometimes from their page, it will say, send them an email. So you could potentially try that if it's somebody that you're really desperately wanting to connect with. Sometimes they will just have a follow button if they're somebody that does a lot of posting and is using using the LinkedIn network in that kind of influencer type function. Then that's fine. Follow them. Connect with others. So I think there is lots of fantastic people out there that have that functionality more open, and you can certainly send them a message if you can. If not, it's probably not so critical that you connect with that particular one individual. I do want to just make a quick comment about the premium account. This is full disclosure. This is 100% Lara's opinion, so take it for what it's worth. A pound of salt, I guess. I am really chronically cheap. I refuse to pay for anything that I don't need or don't think that I need. So I have over 1,000 connections. I have done all that on a basic account alone. So there is a lot that's available to you through the basic level of LinkedIn. You don't necessarily need to upgrade to that premium level. That being said, if you are in a job search situation and you do want to gain a little bit more capacity on getting insight into the job postings or being able to connect with other premium members, sign up for that free account and use that for the month that you've got it to leverage it, and then decide if it's worth it for you to choose to keep that. It is fairly expensive. I think it's like $39 a month or something. So not everybody, especially if you're still a student, and it may not be within your budget, but those free accounts are available to you. once yearly. This might be old information, but it was once per year per email address. So something to consider, that you could potentially do a repeat of that free service for another month, kind of farther down the road if you wanted to. How do I change my job recommendations? Fantastic, from my previous career. So in your LinkedIn profile, actually, I will pop back out to the website here because I'm using my hands and that's not super duper helpful for you. When you go to your profile, once again on LinkedIn, and it's going to take a moment here. Here, when you click on that open to, or that open to work, you can open those details. And here's where you can edit the type of job titles that you are interested in, maybe the types of work, locations, that sort of thing. So this gives you the place where you can start to refine those job recommendations once again. By the way, this is also where you can change and add that open to work banner to your profile if you wish, by making it viewable to all people, or you can keep it limited if you don't want your current employer to know that maybe you're considering other opportunities. You can make it so that only the recruiters can reach out to you, and you can totally turn that off in your privacy settings. So this is really where you can control a lot of that functionality. Also, by creating those saved searches in the job search area, and by searching for careers or career titles that match where you're headed in your career, then LinkedIn learns from those searches as well and starts to gear the recommendations it makes to you by what you've searched recently. So it will say, hey, you looked at this particular job, you might also be interested in this one over here. I am very mindful of our time, and we are at 1 minute to the hour. So if anybody has other questions or pieces that you would like me to address, I'm also happy to hang out for a few more minutes if anybody would like to.
We do have one in the chat. I don't know if you just want to take a look. And
let me.
From Gagandeep.
Yeah, is it possible to talk a bit about restarting career after a gap? Oh, 100%. Don't fear the gap. Maybe, I think career gaps aren't as scary to employers as they once were, because the reality is people take breaks in their career for a lot of different reasons now, including, study breaks, travel breaks, all of those sorts of things. So sometimes being upfront about why you took that break, if that's something you're comfortable sharing with potential connections, you can actually build that right into your profile and say, travel sabbatical or study year, and actually put that into your experience in your profile if you are comfortable sharing that information. If you're not, that's fine. I think we all are a little bit selective about what we share on our profiles. So I think people understand that as well. So then highlighting the things in your career that maybe are the most recent, not to be deceptive about those pieces, but keeping in mind that you can address that and say, even saying something like medical sabbatical, that's totally fine as well, if that's why you've had some time off, or career transition might be another way to kind of say that without saying, oh, I got laid off. By the way, there's no shame in layoffs. Layoffs are not reflective of who you are as an employee. So they're a reality of the workforce. So don't ever feel that you have to hide that or be ashamed of that. Just be prepared to share a little bit more information in an interview if you do get asked about those particular pieces. It's a big topic, so I do want to invite you, Gagandeep, to reach out to the career advisors and ask a little bit more, and maybe if you're comfortable sharing with them a little bit more about your particular situation, then they can advise you a little bit better about that. All right. I hope that you all learned something exciting today. Alyssa, can I put you on the spot? What was new for you today?
Well, with LinkedIn Learning, how when you actually complete a course, you can just, it's automated and you can just add that to your skills section, which is brilliant. I love that.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Gagandeep. I'm glad that you found it helpful. To all of you, obviously, there's a lot more that we could delve into. I could probably spend 8 hours just going over this. Like I said, I get very excited. But there is a lot of capacity there. And to really explore that, again, I encourage you, if you've got the basic level of a profile, reach out and set up a review with a career advisor. They'll help you to build that out a little bit more, and also to think about what makes sense for your particular situation and how you want to use that system, because they can tailor the advice a little bit more than I can for every individual here. I'm glad that people learn some new things and kind of gain some insight into those pieces. Again, don't feel bad for looking at people's profiles, for saying, I really like the way that they phrased this in their about section, or mimicry is the highest form of flattery, so maybe don't steal their words, but adapt that into maybe how you see yourself or where you want to go in your career as you move forward. So again, if they don't want to share it with you, they wouldn't have. So feel free to explore and read that information that's out there. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and attending, asking great questions. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or through Career Advancement Services. Again, I challenge you, write me that personalized invitation as to what you might want to connect or learn about. And then it's good practice for you to figure out how to go through those particular steps as well.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. That was very insightful, and I appreciate you all for joining us today. So gonna sign off and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.